Hello and welcome to YouTube channel HealthQ, the place where our mission is not only to motivate you but help you to move on to the bright side of the health. I'm your host, physiotherapist Meghna Dave, and welcome to this channel. This channel is all about helping you to move better in your life. Well, I'm a physiotherapist and we see patients from different conditions, different ailments that impair their ability to move. So in today's video, what I'm trying to share with you is a very important thing that plays a very crucial role in anybody's recovery or rehabilitation. Now, the term recovery literally means an ability of an individual to come back to the life, right? Now, this is very different from cure. Cure is getting out of a problem 100%, getting nil from your body, removing that problem from your body completely. Now, most of the time, infectious diseases or diseases in general can be cured, but there are associated impairments that always exist, and these impairments needs recovery. These impairment needs rehabilitation. Now, the problem with this rehabilitation or recovery is that they cannot be achieved through passive methods. It requires your input, your involvement. Most of the curative concepts or curative treatment are passive. You will either go for surgery, you will take medications, or you can take alternative medicine. So here there would be processes and procedures where you have to be there and you have to take those methods, and those methods will work on you. But unfortunately, in recovery process and rehabilitation process, you have to be an active participant in that. And a very important aspect in your recovery and rehabilitation is your lifestyle. The actions that you take again and again. And your lifestyle, your actions boils down to your habits. The habits that you adopt in your lifestyle can make and break your condition. If you want to recover from a problem, recover from an injury, or else you want to get rid of a problem, get rid of an issue, then you need to make right choices. You need to develop some good habits, and at the same time, you need to get rid of some wrong habits. And there is no other book better than Atomic Habits to teach you about how to develop and eliminate habits. So, in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first give you an understanding about why your habits matter. Second, we will talk about how to develop good habits and how to eliminate bad habits. Third, we will also touch upon some of the common challenges that we face with habits, and that is problems like procrastination, loss of motivation, etc. And at last but not the least, I'll give you some examples where you can apply these principles to work on your health related challenges. Aren't you excited? I'm very excited to talk about this topic, so let's get started. So, Atomic Habits is a book which basically teaches you the science, or is the process behind developing and getting out of bad habits. Habits can make and break your life, and habits are like compounding effect. Good habits, when compounded, can give you good life. At the same time, when bad habits are compounded, they will give you a miserable life. So let's say, for example, if you meditate on a daily basis, it's going to compound and give you some amazing benefits like work-life balance, clarity of mind, good health, no hypertension, etc. But at the same time, if you develop a bad habit of overthinking, of stressing out, or binge eating, or maybe binge watching, that is also going to compound and is going to give you some negative outcomes like psychiatric disorders, mental health issues, etc. So, if habits are going to make and break your life, it's very important that we choose the right ones and get rid of the wrong ones. So, what are the different ways with which we can get out of the wrong habit and then develop good habits? Let's discuss about that. So, when it comes to habit, it boils down to our desire. Our habits, our actions are reflection of our desire. At the same time, they are also the reflection of the self-image that we have got for ourselves. Let's say someone who says that I am a sweet tooth, he or she will find great difficulty in avoiding sweets. Why? Because it's not that he or she don't have self-control, but the problem is with the mindset and that self-image that that person is holding, that I love sweets because I am a person who eats sweets. At the same time, an alcoholic will not have that limitation from that inner self avoiding drinking, and that's why he would be more inclined toward it. But at the same time, if someone says that I am a non-alcoholic person, automatically he will be repelling himself from habit of drinking. So the first and most important thing that comes about our actions, our habits, is our self-image. What kind of image that we are holding determines what are the kind of actions or the processes that we are going to follow. So if we want to develop good habit or bad habit, we need to work inside out rather than working outside in. Most of the time, what is the biggest mistake that people make? Or if they focus too much on the outcome. Unfortunately, goals and outcomes are not in our hand. They are not in our control literally. But what is in our control, our hand, is the processes and the systems that we follow. Now, what if we imagine that we don't need to worry about the outcome? We have no control about the outcome. Let the outcome take charge on its own. We just take care of the process and the system and the actions that we are supposed to take. Our focus would be more driven towards there, right? And obviously, our actions will determine and will take us towards the path of success. So if that is the case, it's so important that we focus on developing the right kind of actions for ourselves. So there's a very big problem with the goals, and these problems are: number one, the goals most of the time are same between people who are successful and the people who are non-successful. An obese person will have a goal of losing weight, but not all obese people will be successful in losing weight. Only few of them would be able to do that. So that's the problem with the goal. Successful and non-successful both put or set same goals. Second, goals are temporary. The outcomes that you're going to achieve from the goal will give you a sense of pride, a sense of happiness, but this sense is going to last only for some time. It's going to be temporary. It is not going to be forever. Third, your goals will restrict your happiness. Many a times we define goal as a source of our happiness. When I get this, I will be happy. When I lose weight, I'll be happy. When I'm out of my pain, I'll be happy. So most of the time we end up restricting ourselves and we end up restricting our happiness on the basis of this goal. Now this goal has nothing to do with your happiness. You can stay happy at that same time also. But since we are so much obsessed with our goals that we start aligning our happiness with our goals. That's the limitation of a goal setting. And last but not the least, your goal can limit your progress. Because for example, let's say you achieve an outcome, then you might not continue working hard the same way as you were working before. But at the same time, if you focus on your process, you develop habits, you develop action plans. This action plans allows you to stay consistent whether you achieve goal or not. So your actions stays more consistent, and eventually what happens when you are consistent, you get outcomes. So outcomes are mostly eventual and they don't need to be much focused on. Instead, what we need to focus more on are our processes and action. So how do we achieve these actions in a very systematic way? Let's discuss about that. Doing a motivation ritual is also a way of staying more aligned to your goals. Now a simple way of that is just having someone who is constantly there to motivate you, and that's where your accountability buddy comes into your picture. Having someone who is constantly there to motivate you, to guide you, plays such a crucial role. That can be a physiotherapist, that can be a health coach, that can be a friend or else a family member. But make sure to have people around you who are constantly there to act as a motivator for you to move ahead and make it progress. Another way of doing that thing is through highlighting benefits of what you're doing. Many times when we are in the process of doing some habit development, we also come across failures. That's the time it's important to keep ourselves motivated, and highlighting benefits is also a very great way. You can think through this way that at least you are putting in effort. Doing the actions that you are taking right now is giving you good and is not causing any harm. That will keep you motivated to keep on going. So these are some ways with which you can make your actions more attractive. But that's not all. Along with your actions being attractive, they have to be easy to follow. Now if you see successful people, they try to make their actions, the actions they actually want to do, as easy as possible. For example, they will have their workplace very closer to them, so they don't have to spend time more in traveling. But at the same time, they will make their habits so easy that it just becomes like a no-brainer. Let's say, for example, you have to wake up in the morning and you have to get ready to work out. If you keep the stack of your clothes and everything just next to you, so that when you wake up you just have to go to bathroom and just change and you are ready to just exercise, it becomes so easy and simple to follow that it's just a no-brainer and it becomes a part of your lifestyle. Same thing applies for water intake. More water we are surrounded with, more likely we are to drink them, right? So let's say instead of keeping water very far away from you, if that water bottles are nearby to you, you are more likely to drink them. So your habit of drinking water on a regular basis, the chance of you following those habits will increase. So if you want to lose weight and you have to drink more water, you have to walk more, you have to exercise more, you have to make this process of exercise easy. You have to make the process of doing the things, sitting and working out as easy as possible, so that it becomes no-brainer for you and you can do that. And the best way of achieving that is doing just action and not planning. Many of us get into this trap of analysis paralysis. We plan so much that we end up doing nothing. So the idea here is to just switch on and do the action whatever is required without worrying about how that action will turn up into, what outcomes that action is going to give. Just shabbily do that action. That's the most easiest way to do that. Along with that, it's also important to understand that the amount of time you have been practicing an habit is not that important as the number of times you are doing the same habit. So let's say if you are exercising from 1 year, but those exercises have been inconsistent, not done with many repetition, it has no value. But at the same time, exercising of 10 repetition every single day matters more. And that applies to almost all conditions: back pain, knee pain, neck pain, even for children suffering from cerebral palsy. If they have to develop a habit of standing or walking independently, they need to practice that action again and again, that it becomes a habit. And that is only possible when you make these actions, break them down into as simple form as possible. And that is just aligned to the human behavior. We as humans are always inclined and aligned towards the things which requires least effort, minimum effort. So things which are easy to follow, easy to do, you are more likely to follow them rather than things that are difficult to follow and difficult to do. That takes me to the fourth way or fourth important step of developing a new habit or developing a consistent habit, and that is to make it satisfying. Whenever your actions feel good, gives you a sense of gratification, sense of satisfaction, you are more likely to stick on to that. That's a human nature, isn't it? So let's say if you want to walk, but if you associate that process of walking with listening to good music, it's such a pleasure to listen to good music in the morning while going for the walks. Let's say if you align your workouts with a motivational talk, which increases the dopamine level in your body, then it becomes fruitful, that becomes satisfying, that feels good to you, and you are more likely to do that. Let's say drinking water more is associated with the sense of calmness, you are more likely to drink water. So every action that gives you a sense or feeling of relaxation or feel good factor, you are more likely to do that. So all the actions that you are taking, steps you are taking, if you align those steps with the right kind of satisfaction sense, then you are more likely to follow that. So now we saw how taking certain steps you can develop a good habit. Now let's talk about how to get rid of bad habits, right? So it's all opposite. Whenever we want to eliminate a bad habit from our life, we need to make it less obvious, we need to make it unattractive, or else we have to make it more hard to finish that, and we have to make the sense or outcomes more dissatisfying. So let's take an example. Here I would like to take an example of overthinking. Let's say if you have this habit of overthinking and you just want to get out of this habit, the simplest one is to first identify the cues through which you get this trigger of overthinking. Again, what you can do is you can write down your habits, you can write down your day-to-day tasks and point out what are the habits that are right, what are the habits that are wrong, and what are the patterns that you are following when you get the spree, you are getting into that habit of overthinking again. Those triggers, that action, when you are knowing about it, when you are aware about it, you would be able to then eliminate it again. So how you can eliminate negative actions or negative things from your life? By, again, habit stacking, or else removing and replacing it with something very positive. Let's say, for example, whenever you get into the spree of overthinking or negative thoughts, right, you are going to stack that up on top of it with deep breathing exercise. A simple technique, or else you will do an om chanting, something which distracts you from that cue, so you are eliminating. Second way, to remove those triggers of overthinking. Let's say, if following social media, if you see certain profiles of certain people that make you feel jealous, anxious, overthinking, then stop following those people. That would be a simplest way of eliminating those people, those cues that triggers those overthinking patterns, right? So again, removing negative people from your surrounding. That are simple ways with which you can remove the cues that triggers that step of overthinking at first place. Once that is done, the second thing you have to do is you have to make overthinking more unattractive. How you do that? How you can make overthinking more unattractive? Well, you can associate your thoughts, your overthinking habits with the negative outcomes. You can associate, whenever I'm going to think about it, you can keep some pointers, some reminders within yourself that yes, what I'm going to think right now, or what I'm thinking about it, is not taking me towards the right path, not taking me to the right direction. So you start dissociating. I don't want to think this way. That helps you to be more aware and stay or keep yourself away from these things. Second, you can take help of the people around you. People who are closer to you, people who are your friends, people whom you admire, or as people in crowd general. You can think, what if the same situation would be there in front of your friend whom you admire, what he would have reacted. Start observing other people, what their response is, what their reaction is. When you start observing this, you realize that there are different mechanisms that other people are also using, which you can start implementing and adapting, and thus making your response, your solution more attractive. Another way is to constantly highlighting the benefit of avoiding that behavior. Whenever you get a feeling of anxiety or overthinking, you just highlight yourself how good the life would be when you would not be thinking about those things, or you would be doing the practice of meditation or whatever it is that is encouraging you to go towards that good habit side and not the bad habit side. That will enable you to think in a different way, change the perspective, and gain better outcomes. Now, once that is done, the third thing that you need to do to eliminate bad habit is to make those actions difficult. The more difficult it is for you to overthink, less likely you would be. So, in general, keep yourself busy. Busy in things that are more productive. Busy in things that are more important and urgent at the same time. And that's where putting yourself in deliberate tasks help you. Engage yourself in activities that keeps you occupied so much that you are not lying or falling into the spree of overthinking. Maybe put yourself in this box, or else you can say you can put some deadline of finishing a book, reading a book. It's as simple as that. So whenever you are reading a non-fictional productivity book, and just to cut out that thoughts of overthinking, you are making that task difficult. So let's say if following the social media is causing the trigger of overthinking, keeping your phone away from you whenever you are more likely to pick that phone up and scroll through social media. So these are some simple and practical ways with which you can eliminate the triggers that leads you to the loop of overthinking and removes this habit of overthinking. Last but not the least, and that is to make the actions more unsatisfying. The outcomes that you get, or is the feeling that you get after finishing the task, makes your or breaks your habit, right? So let's say if you do something and that makes you feel good about yourself, you are more likely to follow. Now the trap with the bad habits is that whenever you are following a bad habit, it gives you a sense gratification immediately. Let's say you had a chocolate, you will feel good about it, right? But after some time, when the sugar will deplete, you will start feeling bad. You will again crave for another chocolate, right? So the way to do that, and that's why people in cigarettes packets, you have seen they make these bad pictures on them just to make you more aware, to make it unsatisfying, the sense of doing the act of smoking more unsatisfying. Very similarly, when you have to practice getting away from overthinking, what you can do is you can make this entire process unsatisfying by highlighting again the thoughts, the processes that whenever I'm overthinking, it is taking me or pulling me backward. You can put some negative marks to yourself. You can assign some marks. Like whenever you are thinking or getting a negative thought, you're going to keep a scrapbook and you're going to put a negative mark. That negative mark will make you feel bad about that habit and you will be less likely to follow it. So to summarize, to make an habit unattractive or is to remove an habit, first thing you need to do, you need to remove the cues and the triggers as far as possible from your hindsight, right? So make your cues invisible around from your surrounding. Reduce your exposure, remove the cues of bad habits from your surrounding, change your environment, change people whom you hang out with so that you are not more inclined towards developing that habit. Second, by making it less obvious or making it less attractive by setting the right mindset at first place, focusing on positives of not following that habit, and at the same time taking help of people around you as your role models to remove that habit from your lifestyle. You can also increase friction between your habit and your action by increasing the distance between them. If the task that you have to do is difficult to achieve, you are less likely to follow it. So make sure to increase that difference. Last but not least, use a commitment device. Commit to yourself that you are going to act differently, you are going to be a different person, you are going to work on your own self-image, a better image of yourself. Image that will be more positive, more inclined with your own self-belief. Along with that, the next thing that you need to do is to make unsatisfying, the outcomes more unsatisfying. You can do this by again using your accountability partner who is going to give you negative scores, or you can give negative scores to yourself whenever you land up doing that wrong habit again and again. You can also have a habit contract with your accountability partner where you can sign a contract with each other where whenever you fail, you are aligned to give back something. So whenever you are punished to pay back, you are less likely to follow that. So these are certain ways with which you can either develop a good habit or else eliminate some good habit. Now there are few limitations or challenges that one faces while following this path of developing a new habit or eliminating new habit. That is, number one, motivation. Many a times we lose motivation. Now the problem with motivation is it's temporary. What we need is self-awareness and at the same time self-image. So focus more on developing a better self-image of yourself. So automatically motivation will be something that will come. Otherwise motivation will stay temporary. Whenever somebody says something to you, you will feel motivated, but after that you will tend or you will be more likely to leave or else go and spurge back into the same habit. Second thing is procrastination. Now there are a lot of challenges that we face in our day-to-day life, but the people who are successful are more determined to stick on to their routines that they have decided. So it requires a little bit of trial and error. So be open to try and fail again and again. Don't give up. And that's where a lot of self-image helps and a lot of support from friends and family also help. So keep your people next to you. Third, apply your strengths. You as an individual have got certain unique qualities. Use these qualities for your own benefit. Let's say you are more confident. Let's say you are good in communication. Utilize these tools in defining your habit patterns, right? So use it for your benefit. Last but not the least, whenever you are working on the edge of your abilities, you would be more motivated. Yes, which means that when you are at a point where you have achieved certain outcomes, but they are still not achieved 100%, you would be more likely to attain. So stay on the edge. Try to push your limits always. Don't get satisfied after just one outcome, or it's just don't discourage or give up when you attain failure. Keep going is the way, whether it is boring or else it's not. second important thing that you need to keep in mind in order to keep motivated yourself, and that is the threat to the failure is boredom and not the failure itself. So stay away from boredom. You can achieve that by trying different ways, different methods, bringing variety to your life. Whatever task you are trying to do, if you are able to change patterns, bring new ways of doing that, then you will be staying away from boredom. It would be less boring and more interesting, and you would like to do it again and again. The third important thing to stay motivated is to have a professional mindset. See, amateurs are the one who stay motivated for some time and then they get bored or they feel failed and they give up. But the professional person is one who stay consistent whether it is boring or not. So have that mindset of being or getting to that professional level of whatever things you are trying to do, and that will help you to achieve the results that you want. Now, this Atomic Habit is a book which gives you a holistic perspective of achieving success, not only from your health standpoint but all from your productivity standpoint, from your entrepreneurship standpoint, a lot of different ways, right? But it boils down to one core important aspect of human being, and that is habits. Habits can make you or break you, so make sure that if you want to develop the core of your good health and well-being, habits are something that's going to make that for you. So start working on it. I hope you found this podcast helpful. If yes, make sure to like this video, share this video with your friends and family members, and do not forget to subscribe to HealthQ channel. I'll see you in another video. Thank you.